Coach, whenever you're ready.
Yep. All right. First of all, I'll say that was a heck of a football game. Auburn's a very good football team, very physical, played very well, coached very well. There was a good football team in that locker room over there too, right there in Texas A&M. Those guys, that was a heck of a win. That was a lot of guts. That was physicality. That was toughness. That was competitiveness, what you took in this game to do the things we had to do, and I can't be more proud of those guys. The lines of guys at the line of scrimmage, our defense is absolutely outstanding, controlling the lines of scrimmage and doing it with discipline. We tackle well in space. We knocked balls down. We covered well. We rushed well, and that was, Bo is one heck of a football player, and you can't let him get out of the pocket and create things. And we rushed and collapsed the pocket, made the ball come out. And when it did, it wasn't for big gains. When it did, Bigsby's a heck of a player. Their tailback we tackled him well, but he's a hard runner, man. He was fighting through there, and our defense was outstanding. And like I say, and then getting the score off defenses, that's super. And thought our kicking game, we missed one field goal, which is critical. We didn't need to do that, but they missed one. But Seth hit 4 of them. That was big, especially getting us up 3 scores at the end, doing what he did there off in that regard. Punter was good. And what we did there offensively, left too many chances on the board. Had 5 drop balls in the first half. Critical. Third down drops. Had some drops in the first half, which is uncharacteristic by some great players. But, they didn't hang their head. They went back and kept playing. That's what happens sometimes in games, and they made plays at the end of the game that made a difference in the game. So I was very proud of those guys there. I thought our offensive line started really pounding, and we started able to keep that running game and almost had 2 backs with 100 again. He had 112 and 98 as we got that going. I thought Spiller was outstanding. A chain was really good. Had the one bad play where he fumbled, but it's uncharacteristic. Keep giving it to him. And those things right there. And your quarterback, I'm going to tell you what. He ain't always perfect, but I'm going to tell you what, that's a competitor, man. That guy has got arm talent. He can throw the football. He can make plays. He's a competitor. He's a tough guy. And I'm going to tell you, the injuries and the pain he's banged through this year and the things that are happening. And now I wish he would slide. We have to get some of the Astros up here and get Dusty Baker up here and teach him how to slide and get down. But him to get off the mat like that and come back in that game and then made plays because that game was tied. To get back and do what he did. Unbelievable respect for that young man and how he competes. And our team, how they compete. Now, we got to clean some things up offensively. We had chances to put them away. Had that fumble right there at the end. We had a missed assignment right there where we could have got another first down even before we kicked that last field goal and ate a lot more clock off. But, when you play those games right there, things happen. There's going to be good and bad. Nothing's ever perfect. Sometimes when you play those really, I call them old slobber knocker games, those games that are really competitive. And it happened. But there was a tough football team in that locker room, and it's got a lot to play for. And we got a lot, we got to put this one behind us and get ready because we got a heck of a team to play next week in Ole Miss. Questions?
Questions? We'll start on the left. Sam?
Jimbo, you mentioned the sliding part, I guess. Is that just instinctual, or is there a way you can coach him into doing that?
We coach him to do it, and we do it and talk about it, and I think just instincts took over. I think the competitive nature took over. You know what I'm saying? Because we'd had a couple penalties right there, wanted a touchdown. That was the last guy on the draw before we come out, and I think his instincts just took over, and I'd rather his instincts not, because right now our situation there, he just got to get down. But you respect him for what he did and how he did it, but at the same time, you got to be smart there. But that's just, we talk about it, and he knew it when he came over.
Down front, Travis, and then to the left, Zach.
Yeah, Coach, what was kind of the initial prognosis and how surprised or not surprised were you that Zach was able to come back in and play?
Well, they said he popped it. Sometimes your shoulders, I've had them, you pop them out or get a little sprain right there. But if your strength is still, they test, you can test this. You wouldn't have put him in if there wasn't no strength and anything in it to be able to function. And he still had all of his strength, and sometimes it happens like that. And so he was good.
Yeah, and just when you were in the tent, how much pain did he appear to be in?
A little bit. Well, it was more on the field when they popped it back in, I think. When they popped it back in. But that, hey, listen, that's ball, man. I don't mean that in any disrespect. I mean it in pure respect. That's football. This game is a physical, tough game. When that leader's tough, the rest of them play tough too.
Front left, Zach, and then Brent.
Jimbo, you had spoken after Colorado and Missouri that Texas A&M had trouble with both of those teams, especially on the road. Obviously, the Aggies having trouble with Auburn here at home. I know you said that wasn't necessarily a talking point, but does it feel good to finally get a win against an SEC opponent like that?
Well, I think, played Alabama here, played Auburn. I think any great team to get a win on. And, that's like I say, streaks and things like that happen. They get broken. That's all ball, man. Just what happens next year doesn't have anything to do with this year. You got different teams, different people, and you got to make your own way through the world. So, hey, that's part of it.
Fourth row on the right, Brent, and then Olin, second row.
How big was that completion to Caleb Chapman to kind of help loosen things up? And
I'm a-
how nice is it to have him back in action?
Oh, it was great to hit that post back in there. We had some other routes in there, and Zach seeing that read and making it over the top, making that throw was big time, buddy. And it opened it up and got it down there. And then, but you know, here's what gets me. You can do that and get a delayed game. You can do that and get a delayed game. But you can call snap count and it ain't a penalty. Ain't that amazing? When you're down there on the goal line when they're calling your snap count. I mean, I'm sick and tired of it, man. You're gonna call all that garbage and then not do that, and why can't hear it? You couldn't hear the slap or anything else. And then we told them in the first half it was going on.
We'll
So
go
anybody wants to, trust me, I'm gonna call them tomorrow. We're gonna have a conversation. I'm sick and tired of it.
second row Olin, and then Kirk on the right.
That's big right there on the 5 and then do it twice and have it done and was told in the first half it didn't and have those penalties. That's ridiculous. But you call it for Alabama 3rd and 8 when they're driving to win it.
All right, Olin.
So Jimbo, were you frustrated at the penalties on?
No, I was frustrated there. It's just that I was told. That's not penalties, and we still can't listen to them. But it's just, I'm sick of it. I thought it was supposed to be fair.
I was just being facetious, but what I wanted to ask you about is
Well, I wasn't in the mood to be facetious. How about that?
what I wanted to ask you about is first of all, what level of frustration you had having to settle for field goals, and then
I didn't have frustration. I don't. I had disappointment that we did it, but I don't have frustration. Frustration leads to bad decisions. Listen, when you play good teams, big games, those things, you're not going to get everything you want. You got to play the next play. You don't get frustrated. You figure out why you get disappointed, why it happened, and you figure it out. Because frustration clouds your thinking. It's like revenge clouds your thinking. You don't play that. You play the next play and you play the situation. You can't think like that.
and when you look up and see Michael Clemens picking up that ball, and with the way things have gone offensively to get that defensive touchdown, it's just your.
It was huge in the game. It was huge in the game. And I tell you what we did, though, offensively, which I was proud of. We moved the ball because we were backed up so much. Like the first 3 or 4 possessions, we had inside the 15-yard line. First drive was 85 yard, and the next 2 were inside the 10. And, you still weren't giving up field position. They had a couple punt returns there. We got a couple on it. But, that's part of it. Great teams.
Right side, Kirk, 3rd row.
Yeah, Jimbo, with 4 wins in a row and your top 15 in the CFP, have a tiebreaker over Alabama. How big are you dreaming for the rest of this season? What's possible?
I'm dreaming about playing Ole Miss. I always say this, just play it out and see what happens. There's a lot of ball left in this season, man. And you look at the types of teams, I think there's a lot more parity than there's ever been in the college football right now, what's going on. So let's just play them one at a time, see what happens at the end, just like we did last year, and let's find out what it is. But right now, we better focus on getting them ready to play up at Ole Miss. That's a tough place to play. Be a Saturday night games up there are tough, and they got a heck of a football team. Lane's a good coach, man, really good coach.
To the left, Mark.
Coach, you already mentioned 217 yards rushing, no sacks allowed. The offensive line has played so well last month. What in the world has changed since the Mississippi State game?
Experience. You've gotten time, man. You got 2 freshmen in there playing. You got guys that moved in different positions. You've had stability playing in the same place. You got a quarterback now who understands protections and can slide things and make the run calls and put you in the right things, who's had more saddle time. It just takes experience. I mean, we had a ton of guys, receivers. You're getting some receivers back that have played ball. I mean, ball coming out of the hand, so the routes are getting open. Sometimes the sack ain't, the routes and where they are and the spacing of it and how that happens. We had so many guys banged up early. I keep saying that offensively that, you just had to, it was a bad time. It was just everything at once. You had skill guys, you had quarterback, you had offensive line. The only thing you didn't have hurt was tight ends and running backs. And so when you get in that, it just takes time, and those things are starting to gel together and getting better. And our coaches, I'm going to tell you what, our coaches are doing a really good job with them. Really good job with them.
Coach will go back behind the lights. Mike on the right, and then Jennifer on the aisle.
Coach, if I had told you before today you guys wouldn't find the end zone on offense and still find a way to win by 17, would you have believed it? And what does it say about this team that they could have?
I would have. I knew it was going to be a little bit different type game. I really would have. And the things we did. Maybe not by 17, but it wouldn't have shocked me a little bit.
3rd row on the left, Jennifer.
Hi, Coach Fisher. We saw a strong performance from Tyree Johnson tonight with his 2 sacks and 1 resulting forced fumble. How did you feel about his contributions
I'm going
to
to tell
the
you what now.
defense's
You're talking
momentum?
about a guy's playing lights out right now. That guy right now is playing, sacks and plays, and was SEC Player of the Week, 2 weeks ago or 1 week or whatever it was, South Carolina game. And, way he's playing, he's making a difference and impact in the way he's playing. Him, Leal, Michael, McKinley, Peavy, Ray, you name it up from them. They're all playing really well.
Down front right, Cole. and then we'll finish up with Justin.
Jimbo, you didn't mention like all those defensive linemen, but another name you didn't mention was Edgerrin Cooper. The way that he's kind of emerged
like
in the last. I figured that was the reason why. What
No,
have you seen
I'm
from
gonna
his
tell you what
growth?
now.
from
You
the
talk
last
about
2 weeks?
that guy's going to be one heck of a player, and he is one heck of a player. You talk about can pull the pin and run and hit and play and loves ball, can play special teams, can cover, can run. I mean, I love everything about him. I really do. I mean, he's a heck of a football player, man.
We'll go
Heck of a
right,
football player.
right side, Justin, then Olin, you'll wrap us up.
Coach, I know the players got to make plays on defense. What'd you make of the game that Elko called? Seemed like he was really dialing it up today.
We did. We dialed them up. We had the fronts, and we were controlling. We were gap sound. The coverages were mixed in right, and we were doing a great job. Mike's as good a defense coordinator as there is in this country. I've said it all along.
And we'll finish up with Olin on the left.
First of all, since we're talking about defense, there in the first half, can you talk about your thoughts on Auburn had the ball in really good field position? I think they started a couple drives at midfield and weren't able to get anywhere.
No, they did. We held them back because we scored the first drive. We had the ball in the 15, drove 85 yards. Then we had it, and then when they scored, we got tackled on the kickoff inside the 9. Then we didn't get the first down and punted, and they held him. And then the next time we hit it, we held them. Then they punted us back down there. Then we dropped the third down conversion, which would have got us out of there, and then punted it back, and they held him again. And then when the fourth time we got it, we at least changed the field position and we hit balls and took it down the field. So, but I mean, they did a great job. I mean, played midfield and got to that red zone, tight zone, just like they did. And we hunkered down and getting points.
What kind of, if you can answer this, what kind of impact on recruiting do you think a win like this can have?
Just watch.
All right, Coach. Appreciate your time.